Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of APN, Arlington libraries are looking to the future. We'll explain those recycling reminders showing up on barrels around town.
And we'll have an update on all the school construction projects. That and more up next. Stay with us.
It's August, and schools will be opening across town in just about a month. Construction projects at several schools are well underway as Arlington continues to try to keep up with expanding enrollment. APN reporter Zach DuPont has the latest on where the current projects stand.
Good news for Arlington residents. Progress on the Arlington Public Schools construction projects are going well.
So I would say currently, after hearing the reports at the meeting tonight, I feel pretty good. This is the time of year where it seems like a lot might slow down in town, but the Permanent Town Building Committee and many of our construction projects in town do not slow down. I mean, the summer months is when you can get the most construction done. It's when school's out. So this is really the most critical time for getting projects done. And I was very happy to learn tonight that the Gibbs remains on time, on budget. Looks like it's going to open on time for the school year. So that's very good news. The Hardy addition moving along as expected, under budget, on time. So that's very good news.
Steel girders are in place and the extension of Hardy Elementary School is starting to take shape. The new construction will add 6 additional classrooms, one of which will be an expanded music room and is on schedule to meet the January 2019 occupancy deadline. Playground space was a big concern for parents during the construction design phase. Additional playground space along Lake Street is nearing completion and should be ready for the start of school in early September. Meanwhile, major renovations at Gibbs Middle School have continued to meet construction deadlines and is on track to open on time this fall. The main objective of the new Gibbs School is to bridge the gap between neighborhood elementary schools and larger upper schools. The curriculum will focus heavily on project-based learning, in which students will learn to work together towards completing projects and assignments, as well as social-emotional learning, in which students will learn to manage their emotions and set positive goals. Both curriculums featured heavily in the final design of the school. Construction is set to be complete in early August, well before September 4th, the first day of school. I'm Zach DuPont, Arlington Public News.
Plans are being drawn up to update the Central School. The former school building on Maple Street houses the Senior Center and Council on Aging on the first floor, along with the town's Health and Human Services Department. But since the estimated $4 million project was first proposed in 2016, there have been some tenant changes in the building. Arlington Center for the Arts is moving in and renovating space on the third floor, and another private group is moving out of the second floor. Planning and Community Development Director Jenny Raitt told the Permanent Town Building Committee in late July the changes present an opportunity to create more space for seniors.
We're able to actually address an even better senior center space for the ground floor because the second floor office suites that are currently occupied by STEP, or Schools for Children, are going to be vacated by the end of the fiscal year. And that will enable us to move many of the Health and Human Services staff to the second floor. So you'll see there's actually a new floor in the mix. And then allow us to do more in terms of programming on the ground floor for the senior center, while keeping in place the Council on Aging, which is very important to that population that they serve. Also being able to create sort of a welcoming place for everybody, all of the tenants in the building on the ground floors.
The main entrance, the way it works now, still functions very well to get people up to the main hall above on the first floor. And that we're going to modify it in such a way that we can close that floor up and get it more efficient on the next floor up. What can happen on this side is, and this is could be a cafe, which we're proposing, that could be used not only by the Council on Aging and the Senior Center, but also by the ACA, the Community Arts Group. And so it could become basically on the menu for the entire community.
Planning Director Jenny Raitt says Arlington Center for the Arts' own renovations have brought to light some building issues, such as heating and electrical, that would impact the building total project costs. That rise in costs would then require the 124-year-old building to be fully accessible under state law. Since it's a historic building, it would need permission from various boards to reconfigure the entrance. Construction funds will likely go for approval at next year's town meeting. Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine tells APN that it's not just the school-age population that needs new buildings in town.
when you look at our demographic trends that, as is obvious with all the investment we're putting into the schools, with the Gibbs and the Hardy and the Thompson expansion, our school-age population is growing very rapidly. But our senior population is growing rapidly as well. The number of people in the town ages 55 to 74 is going through the roof. In fact, over the past 15 years, it's gone up by 2,000 people and is projected to continue to increase. So even though there's been a lot of public focus on school-age children, there's a lot of internal focus on making sure that we're meeting the needs of our aging population, and reinvesting in the central school is our means of doing that.
A large parcel of land and buildings in the Heights could be going on the market. Jermaine Lawrence, that houses and treats girls aged 12 to 22 with emotional and behavioral issues, is set to close. Parent company Youth Villages announced they will shut down the Claremont Street campus that's been in its current operation since 1980. According to a statement provided to APN by Youth Villages communications manager John Iacoboni, the closure of the Jermaine Lawrence campus is part of a refocusing of the nonprofit's efforts to expand community-based programs. The organization says it's currently working to make smooth transitions for the Jermaine Lawrence residents into off-campus services. The campus spans 3 acres in the Heights neighborhood. As of January 2017, the 2 parcels of land owned by Jermaine Lawrence Incorporated were assessed at $2 million. In addition, part of the campus is located on property owned by the Convent of St. Anne. Because it is designated as a school, the organization has been exempt from paying property taxes. No timeline for closure or for the future of the property has been announced. We'll be following on this story for you as plans take shape.
The Middlesex District Attorney's Office prosecutes approximately 39,000 cases a year in district, superior, and juvenile courts across the 54 cities and towns of Middlesex County. Current District Attorney Marian Ryan was elected in 2014, and this fall she faces a re-election challenge from Donna Padalano, a veteran of the Suffolk County DA's office. The two recently met in Arlington to discuss the issues facing Middlesex County and the judicial system. Here's an excerpt from that debate.
We have a broken criminal justice system. I'm running to fix it. I went to law school after a career in healthcare management. I went on to work as a prosecutor. I wanted to make a difference. I worked as a defense attorney. I made that difference. In fact, the Supreme Judicial Court appointed me chair of the Board of Bar Overseers, the agency that oversees the integrity of my profession, the 60,000 active attorneys in Massachusetts. We need transformative and transparent change in Middlesex. I have the experience, I have the vision, and I have the courage to do that work. The criminal justice system is infected with racial and economic disparities. It operates in a black hole.
I am in this race the proven progressive. And I'm going to give you 6 examples from my first term of the work that I've done on the issues that we all care about. I very early on separated from the other district attorneys in supporting a change in mandatory minimum sentences. I then went on to support the very progressive Senate criminal justice bill. Meanwhile, in my own office, unilaterally, we ended the practice of asking for cash bail on low-level nonviolent offenses, and I've also faced down another law enforcement agency, in this case ICE, to end the culture of fear in our courtrooms. I am a vocal champion for restorative justice. I helped to write that legislation, and I'm continuing my work on conviction integrity by co-chairing with Attorney General Maura Healey the Mass Bar Commission on Conviction Integrity. We have created that Young Adults Bureau. We are constantly partnering. One of the partnerships we're working on right now is with a trade organization, because you know what? When people get through with the criminal justice system, if they don't have a job, if they can't get a place to live, and they can't support themselves, they're very likely to repeat what happened. So we're working on the jobs piece of that. We are working on things like restorative justice that really give folks a transformative experience, that opportunity to really reflect on where they are to make a change. Our goal is to change the trajectory of someone's life. I have been a prosecutor long enough, unfortunately, to prosecute the children and sometimes even the grandchildren of people I previously prosecuted. That is a broken system. That's why we are putting so many guidelines, so many opportunities in place, for young adults to be able to recover from something. We have a pre-arraignment diversion program so that people can get drug treatment if that's the issue without having a criminal record. We are working very hard about not only mental health, but the dual diagnosis. The number of people with dual diagnosis and substance issues is enormous. We are working and putting in place those programs to change the trajectory of people's lives.
Thank you. Ms. Padalano.
Part of doing this work is making sure that the prosecutors are able to assess a case in an appropriate way. Many of these prosecutors right out of law school are within years of these young adults who they are now handling the cases and prosecuting. Part of what I did when I was head of training at the Suffolk County DA's office was to make sure that all of the 150 prosecutors in our office were trained on the brain science, because I know how that works. I have 2 sons who are now adults. I live with teenage boys in my house. But these young prosecutors don't understand that, and they need to know how come kids might be in the system, what the context is of the incident of getting them there, and how best we can get good outcomes. And then our office needs to make sure that we're releasing those outcomes to you so you can hold me accountable as your Middlesex DA's office, and we're investing money in programs that actually work.
You can watch the entire debate between the DA candidates and between candidates for the Governor's Council on demand at acmi.tv, or check your local cable listings for dates and times. The state primary election takes place on Tuesday, September 4th. If you're not registered, the deadline to register to vote in the September primary is Wednesday, August 15th. You can register online, by mail, or in person. For complete details, visit sec.state.ma.us or contact the Arlington Town Clerk at 781-316-3070. You know, Brenda, we don't often think about how big a role the DA plays within the criminal justice system in this state. It's eye-opening.
That's right, the influence that they have. Well, it's great to hear such 2 strong women discussing the issues, and good to remember the August 15th deadline to register. There are lots of important races this fall, so be sure to register for those primaries. Well, reimagining our libraries will show you what the future could look like at the Robbins and Fox branches.
And meet Diane Welsh, the newest member of the Arlington Police Department. That and more when we come back.
Library use in Arlington is growing and the facilities are struggling to keep up. That's according to library administrators who've come up with a plan to expand and revamp both the Robbins and Fox libraries. The plans call for a more modern and stronger connection, both physically and programmatically, to the people they serve. Here's a look. Imagine, if you will, a library of the future. That's what this rendering of Robbins Library does, adding a 2-story glass-enclosed addition that opens up to the town hall garden and includes cafe-style seating, a dedicated children's storytime room, and revamped community room with vestibule.
And so our idea would be to create this new addition, glassy, that's really a connection to the gardens, and an entrance that would come down to this community room level, right out here.
The first floor's 125-year-old historic reading room would be reconfigured to accentuate its Renaissance-style architecture, and the 1930s edition would change from the fiction area to a teen area.
More amenities, improved bathroom facilities, more space for teens and kids. So again, reflecting, I think, the way that Arlington is changing and in really exciting ways. The library should be given to accommodate those.
Architect Philip Chen presented the proposal at Robbins Library in June. Under the plan, the Fox Library, housed in a former 1950s storefront in East Arlington, would also be completely rebuilt.
Well, we always loved this idea that it was like the town living room. It had a very informal, casual, and intimate feel to it, but very open, a lot of light, and flexible. So initial idea was to make this more visible, make the activities of the library more visible, move the entrance and a new accessible entrance back to Mass Ave, so it has really a civic presence, and and have more connection to the city.
The plans for both the Fox and Robbins libraries are a result of a year-long study called Reimagining Our Libraries, undertaken by Library Director Andrea Nicolay and the Board of Trustees. A necessary step, they say, after a surge in use.
In the past 3 years, our overall program attendance has increased by 43%. Nice. We are 5th statewide in children's program attendance after Boston, Cambridge, Springfield, and Newton. With Saturday hours added in fiscal year 18, the circulation at Fox Library has more than doubled. So this all shows that this library and Fox are under a tremendous amount of use and strain, and we are not seeing any signs of that trend going in any other direction than up.
The trick for the libraries to balance the desires of diverse users while sticking to its original mission. Director Nicolay confirmed their dedication to keeping physical books.
I don't think we're alone in wanting to preserve physical collections. If you just take our e-reader and our e-book use alone, I mean, we're seeing a hybrid user. We're really keen on honoring that hybrid use in town that was evidenced so abundantly in the survey results.
When it comes to the physical space, some refer to the addition at Robbins as a glass box that doesn't fit the current style.
We're disturbed to see such a modern and jarring addition to the library to, an elegant, as you said, a beautiful Italianate structure built in the 1890s with an addition from the 1990s that respected that.
Others wanted even more opportunities for use, such as a makerspace, possibly with a 3D printer, a kind of expansion of the existing library of things where you can check out gadgets for use at home, only these would stay within the library. One woman in the crowd noting the library can't meet every desire.
I think it's really done a nice job kind of doing a lot of different things, being very forward-looking, and unfortunately there's way more demands on this than in any way realistic, and so I think this just feels great, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Brenda Mahoney, Arlington Public News. Project costs are expected to be about $8.5 million for Robbins Library and about $6.5 million for the Fox branch if they got underway in 2019. Library Director Andrea Nicolay says that is unlikely as they need to secure funding first. Possibilities include state grants, private donations, existing trust funds, and the town's capital budget.
And if you come home to find a brightly colored sticker on your recycling bin, take a closer look. The DPW's recycling team is out to remind and educate residents about the do's and don'ts of curbside recycling. The town's recycling coordinator explains the program.
The residents may find orange, yellow, or blue stickers on their trash, recycling, or yard waste containers. Then those are ways for the town to communicate with the residents about what might have gone wrong at the curb. Maybe a mistake they made, they put something that they thought was recyclable into the blue recycling bin, but in fact it needs to go in the trash. We really hope that these notices will give residents reminders of what's recyclable, and there are always new people moving into Arlington and we want them to understand our recycling program. So putting a sticker on your trash, recycling, or yard waste is our best effort to really make a very specific suggestion to a household. It's a very customizable way for us to give feedback to residents at the curb. If you see a sticker on your trash, recycling, or yard waste, it means that it's not going to get taken that week. It gives you a chance to review, it'll be written on the sticker what went wrong, and it gives you a week to correct the problem, and then we'll pick up the corrected recycling trash or yard waste the following week. So we have some really typical recycling. Paper, very recyclable. It should go loosely into the larger bin that's going to go to the curb. Paper is fine. Even brown paper is fine, as long as it's not stained with food. Then there are some problems in here that I see. First of all, there's a food container. This happens to be ice cream that's not cleaned at all. And even if it was cleaned out, it's a problem because this container has plastic, hard plastic, and a cardboardy kind of substance. This is a mixed material, so it has to go in the trash. It can't go in the recycling. No sorting facility can fix that. These kinds of cold beverage cups are very popular this time of year. This can completely be recycled, that's kind of the top, but the straw is trash. It needs to go in the trash. Very important. Very specifically, we have containers and cups that are illustrated in our trash and recycle guide, because these are sturdy enough and valuable in the recycling streams, so they should go in your bin open and loose like that. No soft materials, no long squishy materials, no plastic bags, and never put plastic bags around your recycling to hold it in. Always have your recycling loose in the container at the curb. If I was going to give Arlingtonians one tip, it's to really look at the trash and recycle guide and only recycle the things that you know are recyclable at the curb. Anything else is a problem, and when in doubt, it's better to just throw it out.
Here are some other town-wide notices you should know about.
Every day is different, and I love that. And that's how new Animal Control Officer Diane Welsh describes her first week on the job. APN reporter Sam Beckerman caught up with the new officer and her companion in between responding to a cat in distress and chasing down a lost puppy.
We'll go find a spot to swim, Smitty. Oh, I see one. So I've always been, I guess now they would call it a nature child. When I was younger, always, and particularly for birds. I've been obsessed with birds all my life, and it's funny because my sister is a wildlife biologist and works with birds of prey as well, so maybe it's in our DNA. Smitty! We need a stick, babe. All we have is this. Let's try this. It's kind of light. What I love is the people of Arlington really have an eye out for the animals, whether domesticated or wild, in the town, and seem so compassionate about it. So they're willing to call me to let me know anything that goes on. And like I said, it could be absolutely anything. I have 2 cats, a red-tailed hawk, a little falcon, a merlin. I did have chickens for a while, but they went to some of my best friends who have beautiful coops. I think that's what I love about the job, besides the people, is just that every day is different. Every day is something new, unexpected. Yeah. You know, I was saying to my husband the other night that I'm overwhelmed with the kindness and the support and the welcome, Smith Stop, and the welcome that I have got from the people that I work with at the police department, and then just the town residents. I'm a bit humbled by how kind they have been to me. I said to my husband, if every day is like this, I already love my job, but I mean, I am going to love my job. It's just, the people have been overwhelmingly supportive and kind and welcoming. It's a beautiful thing. It makes me so happy. Smitty loves it too. I don't have a stick. Do you want to rock? Go. I was hoping that I was making the right decision to come to Arlington, but I feel that I really have. I do. I'm satisfied when I drive home in the evening. I feel like I did a lot of work. It's a busy day. I helped some people, helped some animals, did the best that I could for others, and that's satisfying. So I'm happy that I'm here.
Well, as you can tell, Diane is a very friendly person and she has a very friendly companion. So if you see them, make sure you say hi.
That's right. Well, thank you for joining Arlington Public News as we explore events and issues affecting Arlington. Check out our latest segments on the web at acmi.tv/news.
And don't forget to like us on Facebook and to follow us on Twitter at Arlington Public.
Well, as we close tonight's show, we want to share with you the many talents of Arlington's young people on display during the recent Arlington Community Ed Summer Stock production of The Little Mermaid. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm James Milan. Thanks for joining us. Good night.